So you're thinking about buying a home in Orange County. One of the major questions that probably has come up in your head is, can I actually afford to live in Orange County? What does it take to actually purchase a home here? So today, I'm going to try to answer that question for you by looking at two major things. Number one, how much you actually need in the bank to be able to purchase a home in Orange County. And then number two, how much you need to make on an annual basis to be able to afford the average price mortgage here. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing I want to stress about this episode is there's going to be a lot of averages and estimates going on because everybody's financial situation can be completely different. So my advice to you is if you're thinking of moving here, your best bet is to reach out to your trusted lender. If you don't have one, feel free to reach out to me. I have some great ones in Orange County that I can refer you to, but then you're able to give them your financial information, and then they're going to be able to go over all this information but specific to you, and that's going to give you a much better idea of what you can and can't afford in Orange County. So today's episode is just meant to be a starting point to get you to figure out exactly what you might need to be able to purchase a home here. But again, ideally, you want to be talking to a lender to figure out your exact situation. So let's go ahead and start first with how much you're actually going to need in the bank to be able to purchase a home in Orange County. So to figure out how much you need to be able to purchase a home in Orange County, we want to look at three different costs. So number one, how much you need for your down payment. Number two, how much you're going to need for closing costs. And then number three, how much you're going to need for inside escrow to do some of the things that have to be done there. So let's go ahead and break all those down. So contrary to a lot of popular opinion out there, you do not need 20% down to purchase a house. Typically, right now in Orange County, the average down payment is around 10%, but you can go as low as 3.5% down on most loans out there. And if you have a VA loan, you can go to 0% down. So for today's estimate, we're going to be assuming that you're going with the least amount of down payment possible. If you have more than that, great, but this is going to be the minimum you need, which is 3.5% to be able to get into a home. So that's number one. Number two is closing costs. So closing costs, what I typically tell most buyers in Orange County, you're going to want to estimate about 2%, maybe 2.5% if you want to be on the conservative side of the purchase price is going to go towards closing costs. So if you're buying $1 million home, you're going to want to make sure you have $20,000 set aside for closing costs at the end of escrow. And then number three is going to be costs inside of escrow. So the two costs that typically a buyer is going to occur is going to be number one, you have to pay for a general inspection. So when you go into escrow, you want to make sure that house is up to par. You don't have any major issues with it. So you're going to hire a general inspector. Typically, they're going to run about $600. And then number two is an appraisal. So if you're getting a loan on the property, the lender is going to require you to have the property appraised during escrow. And again, that will typically range around $600. Now that's the basics. So about $1,200 that are going to be inside escrow you have to worry about. There could be additional costs like additional inspections if you want a plumber out there or a roofer out there. So it could go higher than $1,200, but $1,200 is a pretty good average cost of what you're going to need inside of escrow when you're purchasing a home in Orange County. Okay, so we're going to assume you're going to need a minimum of 3.5% for your down payment, 2% for your closing costs, and then about $1,200 for inside escrow. So now let's go ahead and look at two different scenarios in terms of the condo market as well as the single family resident market in Orange County. So let's first start with condos. So right now, the average condo over the last 90 days has gone for about $750,000 inside Orange County. So when we break down the costs needed to be able to actually purchase that condo, let's go ahead and look at down payment first. So the down payment is going to probably need to be around $26,250. Now in terms of closing costs, you're gonna need to have about $15,000 saved up, and then again about $1,200 for inside escrow in terms of the cost involved there. So that's a total sum of $42,450 that you're going to need to have set aside at minimum in your bank account to be able to purchase the average price condo inside of Orange County right now. Now on the single family resident side, the average price home is going for $1.25 million right now, so the costs are going to be a little bit more. So again, assuming a 3.5% down payment, that means you're going to need to bring $43,750 to the table. For closing costs, $25,000 to the table. $1,200 for inside escrow. So that will be around $70,000 that you need to have for your down payment. However, the big thing that you need to remember with this, with that 3.5% down payment, the problem you're going to run into is the loan that you need to get on a property. Typically, they're going to max out at $1.15 million for most lenders before you go into jumbo loan category. And when you go into jumbo loan category, the big problem for buyers is your interest rate is going to be significantly higher. So for this example, really, if you want to be able to get under that jumbo loan category into a conventional loan to get the best interest rate possible, you're probably going to need to bring an additional $57,000 into escrow to make sure your total loan is under that 1.15 amount. And so for total, you're probably going to want to bring in about $126,000 to be able to account for having the loan below that 1.15 mark, as well as everything else included with purchasing a home inside of Orange County. So it is significantly more when you're trying to purchase a single family residence than a condo. And again, these numbers can definitely vary depending on the area you're looking at, but these are good averages to work off of if you're trying to buy the average home inside Orange County. Okay, so that's how much you need to have in your bank account to be able to purchase a home, but what about how much you actually have to make to be able to afford a mortgage on this type of home inside Orange County? Now, again, like I said at the very beginning, this is where the variables can get really out of whack depending on your situation. So what I'm going to do is kind of go over the average profile of a typical buyer inside Orange County to try to give some assumptions and give you a better idea of exactly how much you need to make. So let's go ahead and go over those assumptions right now so you can understand where these numbers are coming from. So with the assumptions, we're going to assume that you have a 750 credit score, you have a $500 a month car payment because most people have car payments right now, and then you have $300 a month of other debt you need to pay, whether it's credit card debt, student loan debt, personal loans. We're going to assume you have $300 worth of that every single month as well. And then we're also going to assume that you're bringing a 10% down payment because, again, that's about the average down payment in Orange County right now. And then the tax rate we're going to assume is 1.1%. That's a pretty good average for most of Orange County. And then insurance costs, this is going to be the wild card here because insurance costs recently has been all over the place because more insurance companies are leaving California, as well as the ones that are staying are jacking up rates because of all the fire risk and the amount of money they have to be able to pay out to these people. It's been one of those things that has been very hard to pinpoint. However, what I'm going to assume here is that if you're looking at a condo, your average insurance is probably going to run you a little over $100 a month. If you're looking at a single family home, average insurance is probably going to be around $300 a month. Okay, so based on those assumptions, let's go ahead and break down how much you have to earn on an annual basis between you or you and a partner to be able to afford a typical mortgage inside Orange County. Let's go ahead and start with the condos first. Again, average condo price is about $750,000 right now in Orange County. And then the last assumption that we do need to add for condos is typically they're going to have an HOA. So I'm going to assume the HOA is going to be about $350. So based on that and the other assumption, the average interest rate you're going to get is about 6.99% right now. So your average payment on that condo is going to come out to a total of $5,756, and that includes everything. So in order to be able to afford that payment and have a debt to income ratio of about 50%, which basically means that of all the money coming in, you have to make sure that no more than 50% is going to your mortgage, as well as your car payments, student loans, all that type of thing. You need to have 50% on top of that to be able to spend on everything else that are not reoccurring costs. So based on information, the combined income of anybody on the loan needs to be about $157,000 a year. So again, that could be by yourself, or if you have someone else purchasing the home with you, that's the combined total, but that's the average income you're going to need to afford the average price condo in Orange County. So now let's go ahead and look at single family homes. Okay, so single family homes, again, the average price is $1.25 million. We're gonna assume the same 6.99% interest rate. So your total payments with everything involved is going to be right around $9,061. So in order to have that debt to income ratio of 50% again, that means that the total amount that's coming in from whoever's on the loan needs to be $236,000 for the year. So again, either yourself or you and a partner, whoever's on that loan needs to be combined pulling in $236,000 at a minimum to be able to afford the average price home in Orange County. Okay, so I know those were a lot of numbers we just went over, but hopefully this gives you a better understanding of how much you need to have in your bank account at a minimum to be able to purchase a home in Orange County, as well as how much you need to be making to be able to afford that mortgage payment. But like I said at the very beginning of this episode, the best way to do it is talk to a lender. It's completely free. Doesn't cost you anything, but that way they can run your specific financial information and give you a much better understanding of what you can afford to purchase in Orange County. And if it turns out that you can afford to purchase, or you're watching this video and you think you're in a good spot to purchase, I highly recommend that you check out this video right here, because it will give you the top 5 things that you need to be doing to place competitive offers in today's market, because right now the market is heating up quickly. So if you're not ready to go, you're going to be very frustrated trying to buy a home right now. So thanks for watching, and as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on next week's show. Bye, everybody.